This is how most coaches get in their own way and how you can avoid it. Hi, I'm Dr. Paul Jenkins. I have trained hundreds of coaches over the years of my career, now almost 3 decades, and I have seen some very common pitfalls that they run into. I'm going to share the 4 most common ones with you today, along with some strategies of how you can avoid each one. Here's the first pitfall. I call it the inadequacy trap, or sometimes better known as impostor syndrome. Do you feel this? Like it's your purpose or your calling to help people, but then feel completely inadequate to do it. Or like you're not quite good enough. Don't worry, it doesn't mean anything's wrong with you. It's really common to think this way. How can we avoid that trap or that pitfall? I remember when I was in kindergarten. Come with me back to the sandbox. At kindergarten, it was right outside of the kindergarten building, just off by the swing sets, this big sandbox. And I'm sitting there in the sandbox with Kayleen, who I kind of had a little kindergarten crush on. Anyway, we're playing in the sand, and there's other kids around as well. And this girl rides by on a 10 speed. And my little kindergarten brain is watching this big kid on a 10 speed like, wow. And I was so impressed. And Kayleen is over here. She's playing in the sand as well. And she points her out and she said, "That's my sister. She's 10. And I'm like, oh, 10. Now think about it. It's a 5th grader on a 10 speed. And I'm impressed, right? Why? Because I'm in kindergarten. And this reminded me of a concept that was actually articulated really well by one of the first coaches that I ever trained. She said to a 3rd grader, a 6th grader is an expert. And I thought, yeah, kind of like to a kindergartner, a 5th grader on a 10 speed is so impressive. When you get into coaching, it's really easy to look at all of the things you don't know or the experience you don't have, but it might be more helpful to take a look at what you do know and what you have already experienced, because you are that 6th grader to some 3rd grader. You are the 5th grader on a 10 speed to that kindergartner in the sandbox. And there are people that you can already help. Inadequacy and the imposter syndrome has us comparing ourselves to the high level, the Tony Robbins level coaches. That's not who you need to be. You show up as the brilliant coach that you are for the people who you can already help. And your experience and knowledge will grow as you move forward. Here's pitfall number 2. I call this one the someday syndrome. You know, someday I'm going to do this. We had a training just a couple of weeks ago where I certified 13 new positivity practitioners, and I remember one of them saying, "I've been thinking about this for a while. Someday I'm going to pull the trigger and actually start my coaching practice." Okay, when is someday? Check your calendar. Is it on there? I look at my calendar. I don't see any day named someday. I see Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, but I don't see someday. So when is that? See, when we tell ourselves that we're going to do it someday, it's always true. I remember just before I wrote my first book, Pathological Positivity, thinking to myself, someday I'm going to write a book. And it was always true. Every time I said it, someday I'm going to, until finally, through some powerful and even painful experiences that I got to have, I decided that someday has to be on my calendar or it's never going to happen. I took a course about how to write your book in 90 days. And that gave me the ideas and the impetus to actually start writing my book. Once I started, it was no longer someday. Instead of saying someday I'm going to write a book or I'm going to write a book, my language changed to I'm an author. I write. I am writing my book. See, that brings it to the present. Someday is today. You've never been this old before, and you'll never be this young again. If not you, who? And if not now, when? Someday is today. Now, I promised you 4. Before we get to those other 2, would you take a moment to hit that subscribe button and click on the notification bell as well? That will give you access to everything that's coming out for you on this channel. Click the subscribe button. Here's pitfall number 3. It kind of ties into the one that I just shared with you, the someday syndrome, but this one's a little different. I need to figure out ... Do you hear your brain saying this? When you want to do something new, like open a restaurant, start a coaching business, remodel that room in your home, or whatever the project is that you've been telling yourself, it gets overwhelming really fast because a project has a lot of moving parts. There's a lot of details. There's things you don't even know that you don't know, and a whole lot of things that you don't know. Did you track that? So our brain tries to lump it all together, and then we say, well, I'm going to do it as soon as I figure out whatever. I just still need to figure out how I'm going to whatever. And we get stuck there on the I need to figure out. And then if you're like me, you might have a tendency to hide behind your busyness. This is how I sometimes avoid taking on a new project, because I look at my calendar, I'm already really busy doing all of this stuff or trying to figure things out. And then I get paralyzed in that space where I'm not really moving forward. It's really more like spinning my wheels. Can you relate to this? One of my coaches told me, you cannot steer a parked car. That helped the lights to go on for me because that analogy is so powerful. You can't steer a parked car. It just sits there. Once you get it moving, then you can start steering some things. Picture this for a minute. You need to go to a location across town. But before you go, you wait at the edge of your driveway until all of the lights are green between here and your destination. There's no traffic, there's no impediments. You're just going to wait until that's all figured out. Do you see how I threw that back in? That's what our brain is doing when we say, I need to figure all this out. No, you don't. Get moving. Everything is figure outable, and you can steer a moving car. So get moving. David Allen helped me with this in his book, Getting Things Done. He said, identify the next physical step. And you'll know it's the next physical step if it's something that you can do now. If you can't do it now, it's because it's not the next physical step. Now, I don't mean right now because you're watching this video right now. I mean now is defined by a start time and end time and a very specific task in between. That's how I define a now. So is it something you can do at 3 o'clock this afternoon? And if it's not, then you're probably lacking something that needs to be in place before you can do it. So an example would be, well, I don't have a website to launch this new business that I'm thinking of. Okay, well, can you make a new website between 3 and 5 o'clock this afternoon? And if not, then it's probably like, well, I don't know how to do that. I don't have a person that I can hire to do. So your next physical step might be to spend a half hour researching people that I could hire to help build my website, or watching several YouTube videos about how to do what it is that you want to do. See, that's a next physical step. You can do that. Get the car moving. Take on the next physical step. You don't have to figure everything out. Everything is figure outable. And here's the last pitfall that I wanted to mention today. I call it the Lone Ranger syndrome. And as entrepreneurs especially, we get into this all the time where we think, I got to do this myself. Or we think that we're going to save time or money by doing it ourselves when really we don't have the skill sets that we need to do that. You have a very specific skill set that enables you to be that expert to the kindergartner in the sandbox. You don't have expertise in everything. And so you're going to need other people. Here's the strategy for avoiding this pitfall. Associate. Join a group or a community or an association that does what you do. I'm a member of the National Speakers Association. I had someone in my office just this last week who was asking me how to become a professional speaker. The first thing that I told him to do is join the association. And whatever your industry is, there are associations, people, communities who get you, who understand what it is that you're trying to do, and who already have some ideas about how to help you out with that. Get into the rooms with the people who get you. Coaches need coaches. Counselors need counselors. Authors need other authors to hang out with. Get together with the people who can support you in moving forward in some powerful ways. This will increase your impact and your profits. Is what you've heard today resonating with you? Does this sound like you? If so, it's time to take that next step. Set up a breakthrough call. Here's a URL for you, drpauljenkins.com/breakthrough call. You can meet with a member of my team, complimentary, to see if there are some steps that we might be able to help you with as you move forward with this. You've got this.